You're too old, and it's too late to start. Has anyone ever said that to you? Well, I'm here to tell you that it's too late to quit. And oh yeah, you're not too old. In fact, the good news is that it's always the right time to start. You've come to the right place. Me and my friends are going to share our stories of why we will never, ever throw in the towel. Welcome to the Too Late to Quit podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Iftikharuddin. Let's go.
You came home from across the sea, a totally changed man. He didn't know he was supposed to be after all that had happened. He tried to do good from what he'd learned. He tried to find a new path. He wanted to help, needed to help, and left chaos in his wrath. He said, I must become someone else. I must become something else. I need to save the city. He took on the role of judge and jury, and the results weren't pretty. His family sought to let him back in, but they saw his altered ways. They couldn't understand what he couldn't explain, the secrets he'd take to his grave. His friends also knew that something was off, though he strived to not let it show. Differences from when he had left, he was someone they didn't know. He said, I must become someone else. I must become something else. I need to save the city. He worked and worked to right the wrongs, and the results weren't pretty. Did he now live in a disparate world? So he learned too much from most. Could he reconcile who he was now for those clinging to his ghost? And couldn't they learn from him as well? Give him space to show his side. Be more flexible with their views and deeds. Let their conscience be their guide. He said, I must become someone else. I must become something else. I need to save the city, but in doing so I must be able to show all that isn't pretty. If you think these lessons don't apply to you, only to the other side. Moving forward, the same ills, but misconceived divide. Everything isn't black and white. There are grays and greens and reds. Tolerance and acceptance are needed for the stony road ahead. He said, I must become someone else. We must become something else in order to save the city. Come together for something better, craft ways to make it pretty.
That was absolutely awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Too Late to Quit podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Iftikharuddin, and you were just listening to Rachel Lynn play her latest single, A Changed Man. Rachel, welcome to the Too Late to Quit podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for starting us off with that song. I have a ton of questions that I want to ask you. But I want to, while this is still fresh in my mind, I've had a theory. I've been listening to your song on Apple Music over the past couple weeks, and I'm going to put my theory out there about this song. I know that you mentioned that people have talked to you about a couple different theories. I know we're kind of just jumping into this, but that's just how we roll on the Too Late to Quit podcast. Is that song about Superman?
It's not, but you're surprisingly close.
Well, the thing is that I'm a huge fan of Superman, and I think it's kind of one of those things. If you think it's about something, you can kind of make it so. If you feel comfortable, could you share who that or what that song is about?
I can. It's about a lesser-known action hero. I was at a songwriter in the round show, and someone did a song about a TV show, and I hadn't been writing much, and I'm like, you know what? I need to write a song about the TV show I happen to be watching right now, and it was Arrow. I don't know if you've watched that or heard of it.
Oh, okay. No, I've never seen it, but I know who you're talking about.
So the part of the chorus that repeats is straight from the show. Or at least parts of the show, like that I must become someone else, I must become something else. And then throughout the show, there's a lot of you failed the city, or we need to save the city, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay. So I was close on my superhero.
You were close, but it did have other influences. So I rarely just write something with one thing in mind. I usually pull from other facets of life or stuff I'm thinking about.
Okay, this is for me. This is it's very cool because I've gotten to hear you play that song live. When I've heard the beautiful produced version that you have, is absolutely super cool. Because I was very curious, what one chord was that you're playing. It's almost kind of bluesy. I'm sorry. What is the line? I must become someone else. What is it? Wait. Could you just sing that one part there?
Must become something else. Whoops, I'm doing it wrong. I must become someone else. I need to save the city.
There's something so bluesy about when I was listening to it on the car. That little change. There's someone. I love that whole. It's such a cool, for me sonically. It's this really cool twist on the song that I wasn't expecting. It's one of those, like, for me, like an Easter egg in the song. I think it's absolutely
that
cool.
part took me a few days to figure out what I wanted to do with it. So I was just making stuff up too. So I'm not really following jazz theory or anything.
All right, let's do this, because I wasn't sure what the best format for this would be, but because I knew I wanted to invite you to play Changed Man to start us off. How about we do this? One of the most important things one of the reasons why I started this podcast is I wanted people who, the target demographic is people that feel that they're that it's not the right time for them to be pursuing their dreams, not necessarily music, but anything creative. I would love it. We can kind of jump around. Could you tell me the whole process of from when you first were inspired to write A Changed Man to how then I'm able to listen to it in my car on Spotify or Apple or anywhere you can stream music? Can you walk us through that whole journey?
Okay. This was different because I have done like a number of recordings in the past, and those were all a lot, longer and more strung out, especially for full albums, writing different songs over time. And there's just been a couple of songs where I wrote it and I wanted to record it pretty quickly. So this is the second time I've done that, where I've just decided to record a single. So I wrote it end of February, and just worked on it for a while, thought about it for a while, and I think it was April or May that I recorded it, so that's pretty quick for recording time.
Wow.
And then, there's always so much post-production and all that. But I just went into the studio. I've done a few projects with James Stevens. I don't know if you've heard of him. He's in Ear Studio, East Austin Recording Studio on the east side. Just a gorgeous studio behind his house.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And he's a musician, so it was basically finding time where he was going to be in town and not touring and not having other recording projects going on. And we did the basics of it, just the two of us. He had like a songwriter special going on, since I wasn't doing percussion we did a little percussion, but we weren't doing like a whole band drum space set. So it was just the two of us that first day. So we both recorded, I did my parts and he recorded another guitar part over it and some harmonies and some percussion. So that was all in one day. And then I had met Charlie, who did the lap steel playing.
Okay.
I actually met him at Meridian. He, I knew, I didn't meet him there. I knew him from long, long ago, but I recognized him there. I was at the open mic there on Sunday afternoons, and he came in to play with someone playing at 4:00. And I was like, and this was when I was thinking recording. I'm like, was listening to them. I stayed late and listened, and I was like, this is exactly what I want to hear on this song. So
okay.
It's
just for a little bit of context, we usually have a conversation in the kitchen, and Rachel and I were talking about this amazing open mic in Buda at is it the Meridian Cafe or Cafe Meridian? The Meridian.
I think it's just the Meridian.
Just Meridian.
Yeah.
So okay. So can you? So it was so interesting for me to watch you play that to see your picking pattern. It sounds so full on your gorgeous Martin guitar. It's your playing is I remember the first time I saw you at the New World Deli. You got up on the stage, and there's usually always somebody chit-chatting, and you started playing, and just this like hush fell over the crowd. And there's something so interesting about your picking style. You make those chords sound so full, because I've heard that the fully produced version, and this sounds to me like just as full. It's very cool to watch you play that live. Can you talk me through, so when you have that, did you have the full structure of the song? Like you worked out that I don't know if you'd call it like a pre-chorus part that you were talking about. By the time you got to the studio, did you have everything pretty much in mind to have the structure?
Well, the song was finalized. It's I do like kind of working on songs for a few months when I first write them. It's more of like a just fine-tuning kind of thing. So I did that for probably a month, and then for this one the lyrics took a lot longer. I kept tinkering with the lyrics, and but yeah, when I went to the studio it was pretty much set. We changed a couple words in the studio, just some ideas that James had.
Okay, so you have it. You've got the structure. What can you walk us through? What's day one like in the studio?
Day one was started off with me doing the guitar part, and then singing, and I think next was singing. Then you have to go through the whole thing of picking out which take you want to use. Could you so if you could put yourself in the shoes, because I've gotten to, as I've had some conversations with you at the New World Deli, I've learned about your vast experience as a player, as a performer. Can you talk to, say, a person who is nervous, they've never been in the studio before? Can you walk us through what that step is, as far as like doing comps and selecting everything? Oh, you want through the comps? Well, everyone does it differently a little bit. So it really depends who you're going to go to, like how, the flow of the studio is going to be different with who you work with. And even for, I've worked with James a few times, and the first time it was a full band, so it was very different. But I guess most people do comps where you sing through a few different times and then kind of go through. Some people like take longer lines. Some people take smaller phrases, depending on who you're working with and the song and what you feel comfortable with, and just kind of listen to different versions of it back and forth through however many takes you have, and picking what you want to use from each line.
What is your process like, as far as, do you sing the song all the way through? Or if you were to say be coaching somebody who's going in for the first time, can you share how you do it, your style?
Well, I pretty much have gone with whatever the person I'm recording with has wanted to do, but pretty much on every time I've been there, I've just done like full takes.
Really? Okay. So you sing the song all the way through, and you're playing at the same time?
I've only done that once.
Okay.
There's only one time where I played and sung at the same time. Usually I'll do separate tracks.
That's a lot of stress to do that, focusing on the two. So did you record a guide track on the acoustic guitar first?
Yeah, we did the guitar first. Yeah,
okay.
For sure. It's definitely helps to do the guitar first and then singing along to it. For somebody who's never been in the studio, and it sounds like you've been in some pretty cool studios, what's your advice for somebody as far as when they go in? What are some things they should expect? What is something you do to get comfortable there? Say somebody was asking you like, "Hey, I'm about to go in. What's going to happen? How do I make sure I'm relaxed to get the best takes?" What would be your advice in that situation? For me, at least, because I'm an introvert type A, so I like preparation, and I think also that saves you on studio time too, because studio time is pretty expensive. I think doing as much preparation as you can ahead of time. Aside from the one time that I recorded most of one album in Seattle, so aside from that, with musicians in Seattle, so aside from that, I'd usually do rehearsals ahead of time if it's full band. Just, to make sure everyone has their parts mostly down, and, some, I guess, bigger name bands will figure things out in the studio a lot, but that is, often when someone else is paying for that. So I think for people, self-budgeting preparation helps, and having an idea, but also, going along with the flow and seeing what comes out. Because we hadn't fully figured out production or anything ahead of time. I knew I was playing, and then I wanted Charlie to play, and then other than that, we, James did a lot of the producing, so just kind of going with his ideas and trying different things out. So,
can you take me back? So here we are in 25. You released this. You also I wanted to ask you about the cover art and then the video. Can you talk about those two things? The cover art, there's something so... I grew up right next to Lake Michigan, and as soon as I saw the cover art, there's something so visually tactile for me. It's such a beautiful cover, like I can feel those stones. I'd really love for you to share about how you came up with that concept, and then how you created that super cool video.
Oh, the video.
Yeah.
Well, for the cover art, I've done this a few times before because I don't like being photographed because I'm not the most photographic person. But just finding images online is what I've done and licensing them. And for this one, I was thinking a lot about the show. And it's basically a rich guy gets stranded on an island where all these horrible things happen to him for 5 years. And so I was kind of thinking about the island, and I'm coming back across the sea, back home, finally after 5 years. And, I have the line about reds and greens, so I kind of wanted that coloring in them, and the ocean itself. So I just did a few different searches, and I kept coming back to this image a few times. I checked on a few different sites, and I just kept coming back to this one, which I almost didn't want to use because it is AI generated. So I'm like, I want to help someone's, the other times I've done this, I've used real photos and, felt good that I was helping some independent photographer.
Sure.
Since their image. But this one just seemed to really fit the song. So.
Okay. And then how did you come up with that idea for the video? How did you make that happen?
I didn't. Shawnee Kilgore, I worked on 2 videos with her now. And
okay.
I don't know her whole creative process. It's pretty amazing. She did the video for Be Still, which was my previous video I put out.
Okay.
And yeah, I think she works with a few different image sources. This one took longer than the last one, partly because the song is longer. The last one was 3 minutes and this one was 4.5, but also just think it was harder to come up for a concept for it. And, she ended up coming up with a few concepts, sent me with the one with the faces changing and being drawn on. And we went back and forth a lot by email, just kind of changing things, editing things, coming up with different ideas. And she sent me like some other ideas she had. And I said, I like these ones and let's not use these ones.
So she filmed everything.
She did not film everything. She has some subscriptions to something.
Got it.
I don't know which sites, but
okay.
Yeah, I guess it's her trade secret. It's kind of her. What she's known for doing is making these gorgeous videos like this. And
okay. And then how long, say, from when you first were inspired by Arrow to write the song to when the video was finished and the cover art was finished and it was out on all streaming services. How long was that process?
So end of February to August. Was it August 14th it came out?
Uh-huh.
So the video, I thought it was going to be done a lot earlier. I think we got it done before the end of July, mid-July to late July.
I think that's incredible. That's very fast. I think that's very, very fast.
I was only working part-time, so I was like job hunting, so I had a lot of time. One of the reasons I did this too is it's a really nice thing to keep me busy, because putting things out is a lot of work, as you probably know afterwards. So there's a lot of post-production and paperwork and that kind of thing. So.
I love how you described yourself. You said you're an introvert type A.
Yeah.
That's I think sometimes it might be confusing to people to try to understand how, if you're an introvert, why would you want to get on stage and perform? Could you, if you feel comfortable about it, could you talk more about that? I think that's a fascinating combination, because like you said, you show up to the studio, you've got all your T's crossed and your I's dotted, you're ready to go. What is it like for you being an introvert type A and being a performer and someone who is constantly putting themselves out into the world like that?
Well, first of all, I don't perform that often, or I hadn't been for a long time, but I do have extreme stage fright. And I think that's one of the reasons I've been going to open mics for the last couple of years a lot, was just to get back in the practice of being on stage. Because back when I first started playing out, I was out playing a lot more. Then I kind of got out of that for a while. But it really is just a lot of practice, because otherwise, a lot of practice at actually performing, because I do have extreme stage fright. And I think it really changed me a lot, forcing myself to do that. Because I used to be the person, like, at work, I was in the meeting. I literally had a boss say to me, you're a hard worker, but you need to start talking out in meetings, because I never did. Would never say anything, very, very shy. So for better or worse, it's changed me a lot, just forcing myself going out there and doing it more.
I think that's interesting, because I think people don't realize, myself as an introverted person, I think people don't realize how powerful introverts are. And I think a lot of them, the assumption is because we're quiet, or we're not saying that we have nothing to say, or we're not interested, or we're not thinking. Not that if we had something that was necessary to say, we would absolutely say it, but it doesn't, at least for me, I'm not going to talk just to talk.
Yeah, that's me too. Like, it has to be something worth me opening my mouth for.
The amount of times I've been told you're so quiet.
Oh yeah, me too.
The you want it's always felt funny to me. So it's fascinating to me to talk to another person who is introverted, and it's very interesting though hearing you say that you have stage fright, because when I've seen you perform at New World Delhi, every time I've seen you play, I'm like, oh, I remember the first time I saw you, I was like, oh, is she a touring musician? Is she just stopped by in here? You're totally at ease, like smooth seas when you're up there. So for me, it's super interesting to hear you say that, because when you are performing, at least in the audience, I don't think anybody feels that. Could you talk about that kind of duality as far as when you're is it before? Is it during the performance? Or can you talk more about that?
I think it has gotten better, because I think I've been doing it every week from a year when I met you. So I think that helped a lot. But, and I do feel less stage fright now that I've been doing it every week for this long. But I think a lot of it is I have some memory issues. So I worry about forgetting words or forgetting. I'll like be playing a song and just suddenly forget the chords even though I just played them 5 seconds ago. Just memory issues. So I think that's a lot of my personal stage fright.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of practice has really helped, and also the environment makes a big difference to me. So who's out there and kind of the energy of the audience. And I think as a performer, like, it's one of your jobs to kind of affect that. But for me, it really affects me. So the 2 open mics I go to regularly, it's a lot of it. It's just because they both have such great vibes there. Everyone's very supportive of each other, and it's a really good atmosphere to just kind of get out there and practice at being on stage. Yeah.
I think people don't realize what it is to stand up and read your diary in front of essentially the whole world. And it's a huge what's the word I'm looking for? It's a huge exercise in kind of pulling back the curtain as far as to who you are and to strangers. And it's interesting because there's something so cool when you can have like a good receptive vibe. It can make a huge difference. Can you walk me through what is your first musical memory?
It couldn't have been my first experience, but I do remember being very, very excited when I was little, when I bought my first album was Billy Joel's Glass Houses, and I remember being very excited about that. I bought with my own money and my allowance money. So excited to get it. Yeah, and we're just listening to albums in the living room at home.
Okay.
Back when it was back before tapes, even. Aging myself.
So, and then at that point in your life, were you playing any musical instruments?
I took piano lessons, just classical piano. I think I started when I was 6.
Okay. And then when did you first, did you ever compose any songs when you were playing piano?
No. Austin was definitely, and I moved to Austin in my late 20s, and didn't start playing guitar till after I moved here. I just went out to see people play a lot and just started getting the itch to learn guitar. And I got a guitar for my 30th birthday, and that's the first time I played. And then
really?
in Austin, you start playing, people are like, "Are you writing it?" And like right away. So that was I think it took me about 6 months before I started writing.
Wow. Okay. How did that guitar come into your life?
This one?
Yeah. Was that the one you got when you turned 30?
No, I have a Takamine at home that's not in very good shape, but I still love it. It was a friend of mine was working at Heart of Texas Music and went there, and he showed me some guitars, played them for me because I didn't know how to play, and pulled that one out of the back. So
what color is it?
It's a little bit lighter than this. It's like a light tan.
Is it acoustic electric, or does it have the cutaway?
It's acoustic.
Okay.
It doesn't have a pickup in it yet or anything. Probably
Okay.
won't. It's not in any shape to break it out on stage anymore.
And so, so you bought that for your, so was that a gift to you? Or how did that?
The Takamine?
Yeah, the Takamine.
I bought it for myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
As like you bought that for yourself as a birthday gift to yourself.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I love that. Why did you buy that guitar? Why did you I mean, I know your friend showed it to you, but what inspired you to buy it? Did you already have a plan that you wanted to get a guitar?
Yeah, I decided I wanted to learn, and I thought about it for a while, making sure it wasn't just going to be some bad phase that I grew out of. And now it just grew bigger, so got a guitar. Took lessons from a few people. It took me a couple different tries, and then I stayed with one teacher for a couple of years.
And that was here in Austin?
That was here in Austin. And the second teacher had me learn to sing while I was playing, because he told me it would make me learn the guitar parts better. So that's how I started playing and singing.
Wow. And how soon after you first bought that Takamine did you start writing?
It's probably about 6 months.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And then how soon after that?
And that was my most prolific time. It was when I first started writing. I think I wrote 7 songs my first year, and now it's like a lot less than that.
I mean, when you open up your guitar case, I saw a bunch of those lyric sheets in there. Those songs?
No, they're old set lists.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, walk me through the process from when you buy. This is very interesting. I'm seeing pattern. I'm starting to recognize a pattern here. As far as this, I think I know what the title of this episode is going to be. It's going to be introvert superhero, because it's a superpower which you have because you. All right, here's what I want to know. So you get that guitar. How long from you getting that Takamine to you doing a residency in Austin?
It was surprisingly quick.
That's so cool.
I'm trying to remember what year it started. So I bought the guitar in 2000. I'm getting my years confused. I think it was 2002 that I got a residency downtown.
Wow. How did that feel to you? Was it a feeling of how did that feel to you as far as when being able to having started when you did and then getting a residency in such a short amount of time? How did that feel?
I had no idea what I was doing, and I didn't know. Yeah, it just happened. I was very lucky. Like, I showed up to the first gig of that residency, and didn't realize I was gonna have to like run my own PA system. And luckily, a friend of mine who I knew from like the same place where for the same people who owned the bar, showed up, and it was like, okay, let me show how to use this in 5 minutes.
Wait, so they had a PA, but they didn't.
They didn't have a sound guy.
So you had to do that was kind of trial by fire.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So wait, so you learned...
I don't know how this sort of sounded, but
yeah. Okay. So and where was that?
It's a place called Bigsby's, or it was a place called Bigsby's.
Okay.
It was on 6th Street.
Got it.
And then the owners, I don't think that was open just a couple years, but the owners of that place opened the Red-Eyed Fly about a year later or 6 months later, and so the residency moved over to the Red-Eyed Fly right when the Fly first opened.
Okay.
And it was just a happy hour show.
Got it. So, and walk me through your POV as far as when your friend comes, teaches you how to run the PA in 5 minutes, and what was that? How many sets did you play? How long did you play that first night?
I can't even remember. I think it might have been 2 hours, like 2 45-minute sets kind of thing.
So you had 2 hours worth of material, all originals.
No, not all originals.
Okay.
A lot of covers. Back then.
What were some of the covers that you played?
I play a lot of obscure covers, so nothing like anyone knows. So, yeah.
Can you
probably nothing?
Could you share some of the obscure covers? Like who?
I was completely obsessed with a songwriter named Neil Cassell.
Okay.
So I think of the first dozen songs I learned, there were like half of them were his. So there are a lot of songs from him.
I'm sorry, what is his name?
Neil Cassell.
Neil Cassell.
Cassal.
Okay.
He ended up playing with Ryan Adams for a while. He was in his band.
Okay.
And then he was, what's the singer's name from Black Crowes?
Chris Robinson?
He was in the Chris Robinson band. And
oh my gosh.
Then he did like some jam band kind of things. He's an amazing player, but his own songs, his first album just, like, I went through a really tough year, and his first album just got me through it, one of those kind of albums. And his first few albums just were all amazing, and still have them.
Okay.
So he was a big influence. Yeah, I don't even remember too much. I mean, I think I had, 10 or 15 of my own songs at the time. But
who are some of the other artists that you covered?
I know I did a couple of Jayhawk songs. I don't even know if I ever played those out. Seriously, no one you would ever heard of.
Huh?
I did learn a Shannon McNally song, so you might have heard of it. She has come through Austin a number of times.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about is anybody in your family musical?
I didn't know it, but this guitar that I have, the Martin, was my uncle's. So my dad's sister's husband, and I didn't even know till after they both passed away that he was a professional guitar player, and she actually met him taking guitar lessons from him. So I didn't know that when they were alive.
Oh wow! What's his name? What was his name? Your uncle's name? John.
John.
So he you inherited this guitar from him, or
Yeah.
did he give it to you while he was still alive, or?
I inherited it after he died first, and then my aunt.
Okay.
So after she passed.
It's that guitar, when I handed it to you out of the stand, there's something very special about that guitar. I could tell right away when I held the neck. There's it feels like it has some magic in it, or something. It looks super cool, but there was something in the when I held the neck. There's something that feels very special about it. So how has this been your main writing guitar ever since you got it?
Yeah.
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 And can you walk me through your writing process? I know you talked about Arrow. How do you usually come up with what is your songwriting process?
I keep changing it over the years. So for a long, long time, I mostly wrote lyrics first, which I think most people write music first. And then I was in a songwriter group for a little while, and it kind of forced me to. I used to not always write all the lyrics at once, and I would just kind of try to get it all down. And when I was in the songwriter group, since I had like deadlines for it, I would actually, but I had to, write more frequently on the schedule. I would sometimes write over days. And usually then I still wrote lyrics first, but sometimes I would kind of do both, and I've done both at the same time. I took a songwriter class I think it was in 2022 with John D. Graham, which was amazing. And he kind of showed a new way that was more about writing music first.
And what was it? How would you say your songwriting process changed while you were taking that class or after?
Well, it's definitely started during it, because I had my first lesson, and literally when he was like probably still in the driveway, I started writing Be Still. So that came out of that first class.
Okay.
And that song reminds me a lot of him, and I'm sure that's why. Not to brag that I'm nearly as good a songwriter as he is, I'm not, but he was definitely like, I could just kind of feel his presence still while I was writing that. And so I wrote Into the Gray, a lot of the songs on that one, just kind of, 3 of those songs were written within, the first couple months after that.
And when did you take that class? How many years ago?
2022, so 3 years ago.
Wow. Okay. So I think it's really important for people who are listening to this that are on the fence, and they might be in a day job and they maybe play their guitar at night in their house, but they're not comfortable going out or sharing what they've written. I think it's really important to note that somebody like you, who's had this really interesting, rapid trajectory, that you still are taking time to study and to learn songwriting. Would you, because it sounds like you're on the path of constantly honing your craft and getting better. Would that be an accurate?
Yeah, and also changing things up a little. Trying different things.
That's interesting though, as for a type A.
Yeah.
It also seems you're also very flexible to try different. Are you talking about trying different writing styles or?
Yeah, like for A Changed Man, I had learned a little kind of finger picking exercise from a guitar teacher, and I literally just took the first chord of that and wrote from there.
Okay.
So that was different. So yeah, just trying different things. I seem to get in a rut where I'll do try something new and then do that over and over again, and then not write for a while and then try something else.
What has your experience been like with your family and friends watching you in your life since you bought yourself that Takamine? How have they what has their reaction been as they've watched you and your velocity?
I don't. Well, it's been 25 years, so I don't know how quick that is. It has been a while. Yeah, everything in life has changed. So different job, different stage of life. A lot of things changed around that time. But I do think, like I said, it's brought me out of my shell somewhat. At least I'm still not the loudest, most craziest person around, but yeah, I think I'm more comfortable on stage at least some of the time than I ever thought I would be. I get intimidated still sometimes. And the first time I played A Changed Man out, it was at Meridian, and I just couldn't help it. My hands started shaking, and everyone, I got off stage, they were like, "Oh, that was great. I could see your hands shaking." So I still get some nerves, but
that makes me think of something. I remember talking to you once at the New World Deli after the open mic, and if you feel comfortable sharing it with our audience, there was a certain person who offered some unasked for critiques. Could you share that whole experience? I was floored when you told me about that, and I'd love for you to share it with our audience if you feel comfortable.
Okay. It's someone on the music scene who and it was a few years after I started playing out, just would come up to me out of nowhere and tell me what a horrible guitar player I am. So that happened a few times. And I don't have any qualms. I'm not a great guitar player compared to a lot of people in this town. I started late. I haven't studied as hard as I could have, and have kind of limited progression, but I don't think it's productive to walk up to people and just say something like that to them. So yeah, so that happened a few times.
Well, so a few times. So could you, from my own personal curiosity, I'd love to delve into this a little bit more. So was it at an open mic, or was it where you been playing a show at a residency?
He came to see me once, But it wasn't even there. It was, I would just run into him I still try to go see other bands a lot, but there was a long time where I was going to see bands like 3 to 5 times a week. So I would just run into him places, and yeah, that's where it happened. Usually not when I was playing.
Did he isolate you to tell you this? Was it in a group setting? What was the...
It was usually when I was just like by myself walking across the bar. Those people.
Oh my God. And it just straight out, he would just say that, zero, just to, in passing, or he would seek you out to tell you this?
He seemed to seek me out, yeah. And
he did this twice or multiple times?
I think 3 different times.
3 different times.
Yeah.
That just, that's... Looking back with your perspective, especially as an introspective songwriter, the reason I wanted to talk to you about this is that I have so many questions about it, because and I can only speak from personal experience, there's something about when you stand up in front of a bunch of strangers, and maybe some people you know, but oftentimes a lot of people you don't, and you share something as intimate as songwriting, something so personal, that when you've kind of revealed yourself, and you're exposed that way, at least me, I'm much more sensitive than, say, if I'm out for a run or on a hike or something like that. I always feel as if, what's a good way to put it? I feel that there's kind of like this interesting pause of energy where you're most exposed. Mm-hmm. And I think that obviously have my own perspective of that and what would motivate somebody to say that in that specific moment, mm-hmm. after someone to just bare their heart open on stage. How did you handle that? How did you process that situation?
I never had any qualms that I was a great guitar player. Uh-huh. So, but at the same time, it kind of made me take a wider stance around him, not seek him out, as I would before, uh-huh. Not really approach him. Because, definitely after the second time, I'm like, okay, I understand. You don't like my guitar playing. But it's interesting, the reactions I've had, like, I don't go tell the story very often. Certainly it's been a while since this happened, but I've mentioned it to a couple people, and just especially the other players and songwriters that I know have just been very, very supportive, and very, I guess, kind of like how you're reacting. Like, why would someone do that repeatedly?
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, that's what I think is so great, is that's you playing on A Changed Man. Like, you... Did you play that for that Martin in the studio?
Yeah.
I think that says it all right there. Like that you went in with a producer, but that's your playing on the album. I think that speaks epic volumes about your level of playing and your playing ability. I don't think people understand what happens in your brain, the pressure when you see that red light, mm-hmm. when all eyes are on you, and when you've got this big fancy microphone or microphones, and it's something happens while you're playing guitar. Your fingers turn to jelly, everything feels a little bit strange. The fact that that's your playing on the record, I think says a lot.
Thank you.
I think that's and thank you for sharing that. I think I want people to realize, and that's why I put on there the fearless troubadour, that the amount of strength it takes, and to go back, and then to, after being singled out like that, I want people to realize that there are people out there with different brains that have motivations that are not the best that they could be, and it's a lot. You're putting yourself out there, and then to be I think that shows the importance of when you can connect with and find those people like your tribe. And you obviously have connected. When we were talking earlier, you mentioned that you did a radio tour a few months ago.
Just one show.
What's that?
One radio show. It was the first time on air.
So wait. Did you just say just one show?
Yeah. Well, compared to a tour.
How many people can say, "Oh, I just did one radio show"? That's incredible. Can you tell us about that radio show?
Well, it was actually when Shawnee and I were working on the video together, and she's friends with Rush Evans at Co-op, and I guess he needed someone for his show kind of last minute, like the next week. So she kind of hooked us up, which was very, very
lucky them.
And I was terrified because I've never done this. This is only the second time I've done something like this, even like, this podcast, talking to people about my music. So
can you tell me about that? And you can divert me. I can change the subject. Can you talk to me about your relationship with fear, with being terrified? Because this is what I'm so curious about, because when you were talking, and I think that's so brave that you shared about your stage fright. I think most people, you'll see the classic scene in the movie, like, "Oh, are you nervous?" "No, I'm excited." Like, it's verboten. You can't ever say you're nervous. You can't ever, say you're trying to regulate your nervous system. You must always be like the coolest cat in the room and not have human emotions or a nervous system, right? What are your strategies? Because I think there would be thousands of people when they listen to this that will be able to relate to that. I don't see the terror or the fear stopping you at all. You still do what you need to do. Can you walk me through
what
that?
happened was there was one time where I did let it stop me, and I just felt so bad about it, like, for years.
What happened?
I don't know if you like been to shows where like the person singing has invited people up on stage.
Sure.
And that happened at a show, and she invited a whole bunch of people on stage, and they were all up there, and they started, and then she was like, "Oh, Rachel," and I didn't know like which way to go to get on stage. I just froze, and I didn't go. And I just felt like I made her look bad for not going up there after she was nice enough to invite me. And I was like, I'm never going to let that happen to me again. I think, I need to start taking advantage of those opportunities and start thinking more about the other person and not putting them in an awkward situation. Rather than me. So there's been a few times where I've been invited to do a song, and I'm like, okay, I'm doing it. Yeah, even if I have been scared, because I didn't want to repeat that, where I just regretted it for a long time.
What did you talk to her about it after the show?
No. I didn't get a chance to.
You talk, it's really interesting, because I don't, you raise up a really good point, because a lot of times in the chaos of the moment, wait, is it stage left? Is it stage right? Are there stairs? Is there's an entrance behind the stage?
Right. Exactly.
And if you're somebody who likes to plan things, or like, I like to I like to have a map.
Yeah.
And because I'm not gonna, is there a barrier? Is there a set of lights? Do I have to climb up like a crazy person onto the stage and like wrap my knee around? Like, I think that's interesting. And then, but that's a very relatable thing. And then you turn that into like a lever, like a fulcrum point as far as for the certainty in your voice when you said I would never let that happen again. So do you?
I mean, never say never, because I've like gone back on stuff like that too many times. But yeah.
But so what is your current? Because this is again, I think this is so important to share, because you have and have had those emotions, but you still went into the studio. You recorded your own guitar.
Actually, I love
amazing.
Studios. I love recording studios.
Why?
So much.
Tell me, what is the what why is that?
I don't know. Before I was, or maybe right when I started playing, my work moved to an office that was right next to a big studio, and I would just
Which studio?
Arlen.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would have friends recording there and would sneak over. So I got to know the engineer there, who was just a great guy, and I would my office had 5-cent vending machines at the time, so I would just buy a bunch of snacks and sodas and bring them over with me, and I just love the atmosphere there. And my first demo that I did, that engineer had a home studio that he invited me to do a demo. Okay. So that was my first recording experience. The vibe, the equipment. I like also that you do get more than one take. So I feel like being on stage is more nerve-wracking, because
sure.
You have one chance. In studios, it kind of eases the stress, because it's going to be listened to over and over again. So it kind of matters what you do particularly. Mm-hmm. But I tend to just tune that out in studios. I just love the atmosphere of recording.
That's what is your how do you know when, say, that you're happy with your vocal? How do you decide what is your process for saying that's the keeper right there?
For vocals, it's a lot harder. Mm-hmm. I've honestly depended a lot on the engineer, or we'll do a few takes, and then usually we'll both be like, okay, at least one more, or not. Sure. And the engineer will say, yeah, I think we have everything, or I'll just be like, it's a lot. It's a lot of singing. It's a lot of effort. You just kind of get to the point where let's take a break and listen to what we have and see if it's there. But if I feel like I don't have everything, I will just say, let's do one more. But you do get to a point. Each take is very different. So usually the first one is mostly warm up, and then kind of go from there.
So on your going back to A Changed Man, I just love that it's about Arrow. That's so cool. So how many total days in the studio did it take you to record that from start to finish?
1.5. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's very fast. That's very cool. And you had that, well,
not including mixing and mastering, all that. No.
Still, yeah. That okay. Yeah. And so on the half day, that was when you recorded the pedal steel? Was it
lap steel?
Lap steel?
Yeah.
That was on day one or the second day?
The second day, yeah. We did everything but that, and then came back so that was really just a couple hours.
What's the difference between lap steel and pedals? So the lap steel, he didn't have pedals. He
didn't have pedals.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, I think he had sound effect pedals, but not a pedal steel.
Can you, for our audience, I love the pedal steel. I don't know much about lap steel. Can you describe the difference?
No, because he had to, I was like, Charlie, let me make sure I have your credit right for you. So he'd do a better job of that. But I think the pedal steel has a certain it's connected to the pedals. It's a whole big instrument where it's all part of it. Versus he just kind of had one of those, a lot of electric guitar players have a bunch of pedals they'll use for effects. So I difference.
When you did your radio performance, was it solo? Did you have anybody accompanying you?
It was solo, yeah.
How did that? I'm curious. What goes through your mind? I still think your velocity is pretty incredible for when you started playing and learning to play and writing. What goes through your mind when you're recording and you know you're live on air and you're playing this song that you wrote based on an inspiration? What was going through your head?
I mean, I try in those cases. I mean, luckily, like Rush really put me at ease, so that helped. And I really just was focusing on the song more than anything. I think that helps with nerves. To not think about, oh, if I mess this up, this could happen, or, you know, if I do this right, this could happen. Just focusing on the song itself.
I think that's super interesting, because I'm always curious, like I'm especially curious based on your experience, and then what that is, what that was like, and what was the reaction? How many people were in the studio when you were recording?
It was just Rush and one other guy who worked there. Shawnee was going to come and support me, and unfortunately she got sick and couldn't make it. But she listened at home, so
okay.
I knew she was at home listening and cheering me on. So it was just me. Yeah. I think a lot of people who do that gig will bring either have accompaniment or just someone there with them. But it was pretty, we booked it like a week ahead of time.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Could you tell me who were some of your I know you mentioned Neil
Cassell.
Who were some of your musical heroes?
Jayhawks, Gary Loris is a huge one.
I'm sorry, who's the second one? Gary
Loris is the lead singer of the
Jayhawks. Of Jayhawks, okay.
Yeah. I actually got to take a songwriter just one day, couple-hour class with him in 2020, which was amazing. Really? Oh, it was amazing. That was probably one of my favorite things I did, like songwriting-wise, because so many songwriting teachers only talk about lyrics, and he spent a lot of time talking about his process and talking about guitar parts and talking about performing and that sort of thing. It was really amazing to listen to, because he's just, I don't know if you've heard him at all. He has like the most amazing voice. He's a great songwriter. The Jayhawks went through like several different like styles and phases and sounds and stuff, and I've been along for the journey, loved every single one of them.
So how did you get to take a class with him? How did that
It was online. It was online. So I follow him on Facebook. So I just saw the posting for it. It was like, and it was pretty inexpensive. I think it was only like $20 or something.
Wow.
I'm like, I'll spend $20 to hear what he has to say about songwriting.
Sure.
Yeah.
How did you, what was your first introduction to the Jayhawks? How did you come across their music?
I was living outside of DC in Virginia. That's where I grew up. And there was a just groundbreaking radio station in my last couple of years there. Like I moved away in 94. But I think it was 92 or 93. They played Waiting for the Sun by the Jayhawks, and that just blew me away. Got that album and started following him since. And my first trip to Austin, which was 2 years before I moved here, he was in Golden Smog, kind of a side band. And kind of a super group band. Great name. Yeah. So a guy from Soul Asylum was in with them.
Dave Prenner?
No.
The guitar player?
Guitar player. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know his name.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they played, I missed them because I think I flew in on Friday and they played like Thursday night. But I was at Emo's and I saw them in the audience. And I actually like got the guts to talk to him for a few minutes. Very, very nice guy. So I met him a couple different times when he was in Austin.
What was that conversation like? Can you tell me?
He was just very nice.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I felt like I was interrupting him. It was in the middle of emos back when it was down on 6th Street.
Okay.
Yeah. He talked to me for 10 minutes. I think he got into hear my name and started talking about different biblical names. I remember him discussing that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you're originally from Virginia?
Yeah.
Where in Virginia?
Reston.
Reston? Okay.
The first planned community. That's what it's.
Really?
Yeah.
Why does that sound familiar? Okay, the first plank. I know I've heard that name before.
It's like 30 miles west of DC.
And so did you buy the Takamine Inn, or you bought that at Heart of Texas?
I bought it here, yeah.
Got it. Okay, so you took you were taking your piano lessons in Reston.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you go back often?
Not so often. No.
Okay. Have you ever played shows there?
No.
No? How big of a city is Reston?
It's grown a lot. It's, everything outside the DC area is just really built up.
How far outside of DC is it?
I think it's about 30 miles.
Got it. Okay. Did anybody in Reston, were they able to tune into your radio show?
I didn't announce it ahead of time because I was too nervous. I posted a link to it afterwards.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone listened.
Is that link still live? Is there a way to listen to it if we post that?
It was only up for 2 weeks. They kind of just rotate newer shows.
What? How long did you play on the show?
I think it was like an hour-long show, and I played mostly live songs. They did give me the option to bring CDs with me. Mm-hmm. So played like 2 of the songs off of different CDs that I have, and then played the other song. Got it.
Okay, so how did you, it seems like to me that would be nerve-wracking trying to pick which songs to share. How much total playing time did you have?
I had 6 songs, I think it was. So I played 4.
Okay.
Or was it 6? I think it was 6. So I played 4 and did 2 off CDs.
Which songs off the CDs did you play?
I don't. I know one was "Connecting Change."
Okay.
Was one of the ones. Just because I don't know if you know Penny Joe Polis. Like she always used to say that was her favorite song of mine. And she works at Co-op also. So I'm like, oh, gotta do that one. Off the
That's
CD.
really cool.
And it was a month or so before the release of. I think it was like 2 months before the release of Changed Man, so ended with that one for the songs that I played live.
Okay.
And I had a hole in the wall show that was I didn't know if I was going to have a release show or not. I had a pre-release show at Hole in the Wall where Charlie came and played with me, so that was a lot of fun.
Oh wow! Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
So that was right before, a couple of weeks before that.
And then, can you what is the? So, Changed Man, how many total singles have you put out? How many total records have you put out?
I have 2 full albums and then 2 EPs and 2 singles.
And can you tell me the names of your 2 full albums and then your EPs?
Maybe. The first one came out in 2010. Why am I forgetting the name? Water Over Road.
Okay.
It's called Water Over Road, and there's actually a picture of me. We actually found water over a road from a river that I was standing in for the album cover. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was a really fun photo session. I have to have the right person I'm comfortable with to do photo sessions, and that was a really fun one. And then the second one was called Reunion, and then EP that came out in 2020 was called Songs of the Times.
Okay.
And then Into the Gray.
Okay.
So.
And then what, you mentioned another song, Be Still?
That was on Into the Gray.
That was on Into the Gray.
That was the first song on that, and then I did the video from that.
And you wrote Be Still, you said you were in the driveway. After your first class with that songwriting teacher?
John D was probably still in the driveway.
Got it.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
still in the living room, and yeah, when I started it, he was.
Wait, so he
literally-
came to
He
your
came
house?
to he came to my house.
For real? What?
Yeah.
That's so.
I think-
I've never heard of that. So cool.
Yeah, he was going to do it online. I think I was the only person who didn't do it online because, I was living by myself. I'm like, I'm alone all the time. I'm like, I have offered to come over there, but I think it worked better for him to come to my house. So
How did you put yourself out there to what was that experience like as far as having somebody come into your space, your writing space, and what advice would you share with somebody who say is who wants to do that? How did that go? What would you recommend for that person to
Well, I think that's an unusual situation. Actually, I should tell you the story of the first time I played Be Still, because that was the first lesson. I wrote it after, and he came back the next week, and I was terrified to play in front of him. I actually find it like more scary because I've gotten used to. I was scared of the mic when I first started playing out, but now it's a tool for me, and I'm used to that. And I'm not a really powerful, strong voice. I'm kind of soft-spoken. So I was just terrified of playing for him in my living room because, he's an amazing player, amazing songwriter, amazing everything. And I was totally intimidated. So I didn't have the lyrics memorized. I literally just stared down at the piece of paper. I was totally scared playing the song. And I get near the end and I hear laughter. I'm like, oh my God, he's laughing at me.
Oh my God.
And then I look up at him and he has this just like look of pure joy on his face. I'm like, oh, that kind of laughter. That's nice.
Wow.
And he's like, don't change a thing. Don't do anything. And I'm like, then he was like, wait, play that again. Play it again. So I played it again. And he's like, yeah, don't change anything. So it was, it was pretty amazing.
Can you play it for us?
I can, yeah.
Please.
Now I'm going to mess it up, right? I've hyped it up. Turn the lights off. Wait and be still. Clear your head. All that you will. Turn it all down. Turn it all down. Turn it all down and be still. Turn it all down. Turn it all down. Turn it all down and be still. All the pressures, deadlines and stressors, push them all to the side. Listen to your heartbeat. Let your soul lead. Let them both bridge the divide. Turn it all down. Turn it all down. Turn it all down and be still. Turn it all down. Turn it all down. Turn it
That was awesome. That was great. You said you have a soft-spoken voice. Your voice was very full there. That was awesome.
Thank you. I did tweak it a little bit since that writing, but it's.
Am I right? I'm hearing a bit of your Jayhawks influence in there. That behind that.
I don't know.
That's a great song. That's thank you for playing that. I was putting myself trying to and I'm sorry, what was the songwriting teacher's name?
John D. Graham.
John D. Graham?
Yeah.
I'm trying to put myself like imagining him and I see why he reacted that way. I think what I'm so impressed by is how your methodology, your approach, and how you're doing everything. You had touched on something briefly, and I'm curious. One of the the reason this podcast is called "Too Late to Quit," and I want people that are at a certain point in their life that feel like, what's the should I keep doing this? Have you ever found yourself in a position, or have you gone through a season where you wanted to walk away from it, or you felt like pausing?
I don't think from playing completely, but from playing out. Yeah, I did stop there for a while, or minimal playing out for a while. But I rarely go a day where I don't play at home for at least half an hour or so.
Can you talk about what was behind you not wanting to play out, or why you took a break?
I think it's a mix of things. I mean, I moved around and I moved back, and things just seemed very different. Like I left town for a while and came back, and it was just a lot. It's a lot harder to get a gig these days, for one thing, than it was when I first started playing. Back in 2002, 2003, there was just a lot of little venues, and I don't think there are many people here competing to be playing out as there are now. It just seems a lot more of a professional, competitive vibe than it did, I think, when I started. There are still niches you can find. Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And then also, actually, I had a health crash, so that was part of the reasons in there. I had major health problems back in 2013, 2014, and I didn't really get out and do anything for a few years in there. So that was part of it.
So if someone's listening and they're on the verge of giving up, or they feel that they're too old, or that their ship has sailed and it's just not the right time, if you could talk to them directly, what would you tell them?
I do love the name of your podcast. I think it's great.
Thank you.
It is never too late to quit. It's never too late to start. I think there's like a myth about you get older and you're just set in your ways, and people can be, but it's a mindset. I really truly believe that, and it's also finding the right approach for yourself. Like it's funny because this just happened yesterday. I've always had like this mental block about learning how to edit images. Like I'm really good at a lot of software, but not image editing. And I've had people sit down and try to teach it to me. I just didn't understand it, and I actually had to do it yesterday for a professional reason. Long story short, but for some reason, like the way that they showed how to do it, it just clicked with me. And I'm not great at it, but I can at least, I just suddenly, boom, had a better understanding of, oh, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And so I think a lot of people might be, who are trying to learn new things, and they think it's them when they can't learn it. But a lot of times it's just you're not getting the right approach to getting started on something. And, not to quit, to just find a different way of going about it, is one thing to think about, because everyone learns differently. Everyone has their own approach, their own pace, their own way of thinking about things, and you just might not, especially if you're doing it with other people looking for teachers, you just might not have found the right one yet.
I think that's fantastic and applicable advice. I think that's great. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Too Late to Quit podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
I would love it if you could play us out with
Okay.
with another song.
Okay.
If you'd be so kind,
All right.
that'd be amazing. This has been an amazing conversation with Rachel Lynn. She's going to take us out, and remember that it's always the right time to start, and that it's too late to quit.
I came to recognize your face, spirit leading us to grace. But always not easy to replace. I didn't know what to do without you. So many people that I met, living forever by your breath. Well, I stayed since you left. I was bound through you. You were the queen of the underground. We revolved around your sound. Now you're nowhere to be found. We're all still connected to you. We've been etched to the giant hole, still encompassed by your glow. Long before I came to know, you were just passing through. You left so quietly in the night. Then I took a guard to know my right. The trails were hidden from all sight. Didn't want anyone to find you. Pressures on too fast. Constantly riding in the gap. You try not to fall through. You were the queen of the underground. We revolved around your sound. Now you're nowhere to be found. We're all still connected. Leaving edge to the giant hole, still encompassed by your glow. It's long before I came to know, you were just passing through. I see folks from back then, wondering about how you've been. Oh, you left a man, moving on without you. That's the thing I realize, how much I gained from the skies. Took me this long to recognize how much left for me here from you. You were the queen of the underground. We revolved around your sound. Now you're nowhere to be found. We're all still connected to you. You're leaving edge to the giant hole, still encompassed by your glow. It's long before I came to know, you were just passing through. You were just passing through.
That was awesome. What was that song called?
Passing through.
Passing Through. Rachel Lynn, thank you so much for coming by the Too Late to Quit podcast.
Thank you so much.